Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Katie Weaver Show. This is Katie. I'm your host. I'm so happy to be here. Oh, I hope you guys had a good weekend. 4th of July weekend here in the States if you were celebrating. I don't know, guys. What do you say? Yay? Nay? Did you celebrate? We didn't really. We went camping for the weekend and had a really nice time. There's a spot that we love to go that's very near our house, which is really cool because you can come back and forth to work a little bit, to take care of the animals, to take a shower, you know, just things. And that's what we did. It was good. It was a good weekend. We had a lot of fun. You know how we roll. I have quite the story for you, in fact, about about us floating the river. But I'm going to get my banner up here quickly in the chat room. There we go. All right. So I do want to let you know that I'm over in the chat room. You can find that by heading over to 12radio.com and clicking on the chat button. Or you can watch this rather than just listen if you head over to 12radio.com. No, you don't. You head over to YouTube or Facebook. Look for Katie Weaver Domestic Mystic and you can watch the live stream. So, either way, and as always, if you're listening to an archive or a replay, I want to welcome you. I feel like my video's not very centered. There we go. Okay. Anyway, this is yeah, here we are. So, welcome. I am over in the chat room by the way. If you want to come and chat with me there, you can. I'm hoping I am live. I'm quite sure I am. It's very new for me to produce myself. As you know, I have had Scott as my producer for the last many years. So, I'm still learning a little bit about producing myself, but I'm quite sure we are up and running and live. But if I'm not, if anybody wants to let me know, that would be awesome. So thank you for that. I think I had about 2 minutes of dead air. I was trying to play my intro. I think I didn't get it done, but whatever. It's all good. We're here now, right? All righty. Well, yep. Okay. There's my banner. Good. Okay. All righty. So, do you want to hear about camping and floating the river? I I promise you do. So we like to float the river, and I'll be honest, I didn't float for like maybe 10 years because I didn't really trust my body that I was up to it. I went through a really hard patch with RA from around 25 maybe to 35 where I was not very mobile. I struggled a lot. Crazy now at 45, I weigh a lot more than I did then, but I'm a lot more mobile. So wild, but that's what a lot of good medical care gets you, I guess. Lots of weight, but anyway, not in so much pain that you can't function. So here I am. Anyway, so the last 2 years, last year, I really wanted to float, mostly, actually, the year before, I wanted to float to prove to myself that I could. And Scott was pretty dubious. I was frankly pretty dubious too, but we did it. So then last year, I'm like, yes, I can float. And we floated. And Christy's kind of in the same boat. We're like, is this something we can do or should do? But we want to do it. And damn it, I get tired of being limited, you know? So anyway, we made a plan to float. Christy bought a brand new float for herself that was a unicorn. And it was a little bit smaller than the ones that we've had in the past that are kind of hard to get onto and stay on. So she thought she might do better with it. I used one that I used last year that was really easy. It's just like a little lounge chair, kind of. You just sit in it. It has handles you hold on to that and little arms, and you just float. And as long as the water's deep enough, you can just, it's easy. You don't fall out of it. That's what I need. Anyway, but Christy was really optimistic about getting onto this unicorn. So we got into the water, and in more shallow water, she was able to get onto it and sit on it. And she was probably only on it for about 60 seconds when our 15-year-old nephew Jack, who took two floaties, thinking he could use one as his body and the other one to float his feet on, discovered that there's no way in hell that was going to work. So he said to her, "Here, catch this." And he threw a floaty to her that she didn't want to hold and didn't volunteer to hold. And in trying to grab it, she, well, fell off her unicorn, quite literally, and had a pretty epic backflip off of it on her way out. And I was I was dying. It was so funny. Anyway, she managed to wrestle back onto it after, a bit of a scene. And it's hard to help her, but here's the thing. We had tied our two floaties together because sometimes you, just depending on how aerodynamic your float is, you go a lot faster than others. And, what's the fun of floating if everybody's on different parts of the river? Also for safety. So we had tied ourselves together. So all the while that she's doing all of these antics, I'm just hoping she doesn't knock me out of mine. She didn't. But anyway, she got back on. We managed to, like, stabilize and start heading down the river again. And we made it a ways, and she was kind of laying back so she could balance on it, and that was uncomfortable, so she tried to just sit clear up. Bad, bad decision. Her unicorn, flipped forward this time, and she did a whole front flip off of it and landed in a way. When you fall or you trip, sometimes you'll take some giant steps to try to keep yourself from, like, fully falling. So I turned around just in time to see her take these 2 giant leaping steps. The water was really shallow here, to try to, not fall and die. But then she did fall. She kinda face planted on the side of the unicorn, knocked her glasses off. Luckily, our nephew Stone was there trying to save her life, and, he caught her glasses, so, they weren't gone forever. I died. I laughed so hard. I laughed so hard that I started having this pain up the side of my head, and I went, "My god, this is how it ends. Laughing yourself to death." But oh, you guys, it was so good. So then poor Christy is trying to get back on her unicorn, and our nephew Stone is an angel who's trying to help her get back on. And she tries and tries and finally gives up. She's like, "I am going to kill myself trying to get back on this stupid thing." So she decides to just walk with it for a while till it gets to deeper water so it's easier to get on. So she's just walking with it for a bit. And she did finally manage, with Stone's help, to kind of leap up on the side of it and get to where she was just kind of laying on it, holding on to the neck. So that finally worked. But then we ran over a big stick that I didn't see. I couldn't see because she was in front of it. Scott says I wasn't paying attention. He was watching all of this from his canoe, being absolutely no help at all. But Sid, I'll tell you, there is a video. I don't have it. I need to get it. Anyway, uh, we hit this freaking stick. We went over it. Christy managed to clear it, and I felt it kind of graze my backside as I went over it. And that's all it was. That's all I thought it was until we got out. So we get to our getting out point, and finally, I will say, Scott finally made me hold on to the back of his canoe so he could pull us a little bit so that we didn't end up in a big blunt clump of trees. See, we can float, but we have to have help because we're completely ridiculous. But anyway, when we got out, I was holding the front of Scott's canoe and climbing out and, being helpful. And suddenly my niece behind me is like, Aunt Kate, there's a big hole in the back of your swimming suit." Yeah, the stick got me. So everyone behind me got to look at the big hole of my big fat white ass all the way out of there. I thought Scott would die. He actually burst out laughing and said, "Oh no, how embarrassing." Yeah, it was. It was. And to be fair, I really like that swimming suit. So rude. I know I can stitch it up. It's not that big of a hole, but it seemed like it was getting bigger. Then we had to ride in the truck back to camp and then get out of the truck and, get back into my camper and get changed, all with this big hole. But anyway, it is what it is. So that's how my weekend went. A fair amount of hijinks. But my sister Karen, she didn't float. She had back surgery not too long ago, and she was worried about hurting her back for good reason after seeing all of the shit Christy did. But anyway, so she and her husband had dropped us off at our getting in point and then left a car at our getting out point, which is kind of what you have to do. And just as she was doing that whole, huge scenario of falling off again, I looked up and I noticed that they were clear up on the bank filming. So yeah, there actually is video. Oh, I can't even. Every time I think about it, I just die. Those big steps and face planting on the side of the unicorn. Oh God. Plus, there's always that ongoing joke of don't let anyone knock you off your unicorn. Yeah. When we got back to camp, she decided she didn't want to deflate it and go through that big process because this definitely is not something she's going to use again. And she's stuck a steak knife in its eye. Yeah. So it's done. The unicorn's over. There will be no more. Maybe I can talk her into a swan next or the thing I floated on that you don't fall out of. That's the key. Actually, everybody's getting these inflatable knee boards, or they're kind of like canoes, but they're just flat and they inflate. Matea has two of them now, and they had a blast with those. I want one of those. That looks so fun. And you can steer it. So you can sit on it and straddle it, and they don't flip over because they're long. You've got lots of space to balance it, and you actually have, a paddle so you can keep yourself from going into the brush and stuff. Now, am I going to be good at paddling? I don't know, but I want one of those. I think I'm going to get one of those. Scott bought one last year and, a hard form that's more like a canoe, and he loves his. So, anyway, that's what I'm thinking about. But Lillian says, I think I'm the only person who doesn't like unicorns. Well, not anymore because Christy hates them. A unicorn tried to kill her. By the way, check out my new mug. It's a cauldron, and it has all these astrological symbols, all the planets all the way around it, and it's huge. It holds an entire carafe of coffee, which that's what I need. Oh, you guys, we laughed until now. Please know she was laughing. I wasn't just fully laughing at her expense. She was laughing too. I don't know how you could do that and not be laughing. That was some of the craziest shit I've ever been through. Anyway, that's what's going on. Uh, there's apparently a note that just came out from the jail that Lori Vallow has been moved into into custody, which supervised custody. Yeah, that's a concern. That probably means she's being put back in the mental hospital. Just as an aside, since that just came forward, and I know a lot of you guys that listen to me also follow me, some of the crime stuff and certainly the Lori Vallow stuff. So anyway, here we go again. That'll be a transfer to the mental hospital. That's exactly what came out last time. Anyway, blah blah blah. I have some really good stuff planned for us today. We need it. I will give you one update on uterus watch since that's kind of where we all are right now. You know how everyone was saying last week, like this Roe v. Wade turnover is going to be a real problem because there are instances where uh, abortions are called for, right? Whether you agree with them or not, there are some cases or whatever, but that's a whole another conversation. But there was a lot of, oh, those are just hypotheticals. Those things don't really happen. Well, they did. They did in Ohio. Last week, a 10-year-old little girl had been raped by a family member, and her parents took her to a doctor that specializes in child abuse to do an exam of that nature. and discovered she was pregnant and was just a few days too pregnant to be able to get an abortion in Ohio. So the doctor was heartbroken about it because he would have done that procedure because a 10-year-old shouldn't be carrying a baby. And so they went to court, and the judge said no and urged a 10-year-old child to keep that baby. To keep that baby, a 10-year-old that should still be playing with dolls, that should be riding her bike, that should be going swimming with her friends, not only has suffered the most horrific attack, but now it's being told by some old dumbass judge that she should just be grateful for this and carry that baby. One of the congresswomen in that state told her that she should see this as an opportunity. An opportunity. Yeah. Luckily, the doctor connected them to a doctor in Indiana and made an appointment so that she can go to Indiana and have that procedure so that a 10-year-old doesn't have to become a mother. Because then what would happen? Would she have to co parent that baby with her rapist? Because Ohio says, yeah. Would she potentially have to have that person as a part of her life after hopefully they get charged for what they did to her? Yeah. Yes. Now, Ohio's trying right now to pass a law that says that you can't leave the state to have an abortion or they will charge you and try you, which means a 10-year-old child would go to jail for aborting the baby that was made by being raped by an older family member. What the hell is going on? Luckily, that law hasn't passed yet, and she's been able to terminate that pregnancy as well. She should, as well. Her parents should. I keep hearing about this in the first person of, or the not first, but second person of this child. She's a child. She's 10. She's not making these decisions. Her parents are making these decisions as well. They should. She shouldn't have to. A 10-year-old shouldn't have to decide something this adult. Her parents have every right to make that decision for her. And thank God her parents recognized that A, and this is what her doctor said, she's not big enough. Her body's not developed enough to carry a baby. A pregnancy could very well kill her. And a judge looked right back at her family and said, no, carry the baby. Whose life matters? Whose life matters, I guess. So only as I got in the womb matters. The life of this 10-year-old child doesn't matter at all. I'm not going to spend this entire episode talking about abortion. We did that last week. However, we have to keep telling these stories because we can't just we can't go to sleep on this topic. So, all the love to that child and her parents and those who helped her so that she did not have to carry this, this pregnancy to term. Yes, it was a male judge. Yep. So disgusting. But let's move on. Let's talk about other things. We don't have to do this the entire show. So let's take a look at Luminous real quick. But again, I guess I just want to stress that this, when I talk about these things on this show, to me, this has nothing to do with being a Republican or a Democrat or a liberal or a conservative or right or left. This just has to do with being a human being, with being a woman, with being a mother, a grandmother, a maiden, a mother, a crone, right? This has to do with all of us. Yeah. All right. So there you go. Well, let's keep moving. So I just put up links for Luminous. I want to share a couple of things because it really ties back to the show today. I'm going to share my screen here quickly. Maybe, perhaps. There we go. All right. So I called the magazine this week the Bound for Brilliance edition because we are feeling pretty dang brilliant right now. Feeling pretty charged up, pretty creative, pretty smart, Right? Pretty capable. We're going to get some shit done this week, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to get some stuff done. I mean it. I am. You are. We have another witches market on Thursday night at Healing Hands, and I'm super excited for it. I don't have a lot of new product for it. I have a lot of everything that I made last time. I have a handful of things I'm adding this time, some tumblers and some signs. Scott has made some very cool signs and some tile art that I think is pretty cool. So, anyway, those are the things I'm working on that note, but I'm excited for it. So, here we go. Bound for Brilliance. All right. In my musings, I wrote an article about meditation. I've talked to a lot of you guys lately that said that you feel really disconnected from your spirit, from your intuition. You just feel like you're flailing a little bit or a lot bit. What causes that? How do you go from feeling at some points in your life like you're really in connection with yourself and with your intuition to feeling like you are just not and totally like a fish out of water? Why? Well, it really comes down to what you're doing to care for your own spirit, and it really comes down to meditation. And I know I'm a broken record. You guys have heard me say it a billion times. Meditation sometimes becomes a chore and then you rebel against it and then it doesn't get done and blah, blah, blah. Or it becomes very commonplace for you and it's not really doing anything for you. You got to try something else. There are so many different forms of meditation out there. It's not even funny. But I did list a few and I'm going to do one with you today that's not even any of these. We're going to do a drumming meditation today, but guided imagery. This is where a teacher guides your thoughts through voice or through pictures to help slow your mind or direct you to a certain goal. Mantra meditation. In mantra meditation, you focus your attention on a mantra, like a word, a phrase, or a syllable. Mantra meditation works really well with a mala, a bead, set of beads that you can just move one bead. It's almost like an abacus for meditation. You move one bead every time you say the phrase or the word. So perhaps you're saying, I am peace. I am peace. I am peace. And every time you say that, you flick a bead. And most malas have 112 beads. Oh, I hope that's right. That's what comes to me. Maybe that's wrong. It's 100 and something. I believe it's 112. But you flip a bead every time. And then when it's done, it's done. And then you can keep going another round or two, or you could choose a different word. That's up to you. But mantra meditation is helpful. It's also kind of, to me, like using a positive affirmation. And you can use a positive affirmation here to just really ingrain something into you. Yes, Annika, that's an awesome point. She says that the whom or hum meditation is a really good one as well. There's a lot of good mantra meditations, and you can look them up. I didn't give a lot of information. I gave some ideas because there's so much information out there that, and so many experts out there that have so much to share that I'm just making you think, right? Meditation. This is where you sit in meditation and focus your energy on those around you. This could be people that you know and love. It could be people that you don't love. It could be people that you don't know. It could be like Ukraine or y- another area, place that you want to send your energy to, and focus on focusing your best intentions and your best light to them. This is a great meditative technique to be able to fill the world up with your light. It's a lot like what we do when we do a healing circle. That's meta. Okay. And then chakra meditation, of course, a meditation to open the seven chakras or energy centers and keep them balanced. There are so many good chakra meditations on YouTube. So many. People are so generous with their work on YouTube, and maybe their channel's monetized and they're making a little bit of money that way. I hope it is. I hope they are because it's a lot of work. But either way, you can find a lot of good meditation techniques on YouTube. Just trust your gut. If you come across one that feels weird, find something else, or a person that feels icky to you, don't use their stuff, right? A gazing meditation. With this one, you keep your eyes open and gaze at a specific subject, maybe a crystal, a lit candle, a flower, a gazing ball, a crystal ball. Gazing at this object and breathing helps to calm your mind and invite peace. And then breath meditation. Breath work is huge. And again, there's so many teachers out there that teach breath meditation that I'm not going to. Uh, I'm a novice, not an expert, so I'm going to let experts teach you that. So if you're interested in breath work, just look it up. You'll find a ton. It's 108. Thank you, Tiffany. 108 mala beads. Was so close, yet so far away. I'm going to do a different meditation with you guys today. We're going to do a drumming meditation. Uh, and we'll do that once we're done with Luminous, but I'll tell you a little more about that when we get there. All right. So, and of course, Planet Meditation is my meditation channel over on YouTube. And I always put some meditations up. A lot of these are repeats. You've seen them before. That's fine. And I include a lot of solfeggio frequencies or binary beats meditations because that combination of music is known to help bring balance depending on what it's for. So, bring balance or to energize you or to balance your chakras or help open your third eye, depending on what it was written for. And I do a lot of those over there. So, that is Planet Meditation on YouTube. Kelly is back. She's been on break. She was just in Hawaii living it up, but she's home. Her article this week, Why So Serious, as in serious, astrologically. So she has a great, all of her scopes, and they're so freaking good. But she also has a brand new segment here. She has a word cloud for the week. So with a word cloud, you take a you look away and then you look at it and grab out the words that jump out at you first and use those as the words that you need to focus on for the week, which I love. And then she's also listing where the planets are this week, which is great, and where the transits are this week. If you are deep into astrology, a lot of this will make sense to you. If you're not, it might not, but you can always learn more. And of course, Kelly's over at One Two Listen. And if you have questions or you want her to help you understand how that applies to you, she certainly will. All right. My tip this week is to make sun tea. We've actually been making a lot of coffee, a lot of iced coffee, but I need to get my jar out. I want to make some mint sun tea. That's my favorite. So sun tea is so easy, and you can buy big jars now that look just like this one in the picture at Walmart, and they're not very expensive. So get a gallon jug or jar, and do glass if you possibly can. The plastic is, I just am iffy on putting that out in the sun and letting it get really hot, and then you drinking it if that's safe. So you combine a gallon of water, put in 8 tea bags, more or less if you want. That's up to you, but 8 is pretty standard. Seal your jar, put it out in the sun for 5 hours. Just put it out all day. Then you can sweeten it if you want to with some honey or whatever sweetener you like. I like monk fruit personally. Uh, anymore. I like honey too, but monk fruit is better for you for me. Anyway, and then put it in the fridge. It's just kind of a plan ahead deal, right? Because you don't want to drink it hot. So put it out in the sun on a good hot sunny day. Let it soak up the heat to steep that tea. And I never said there, but I would definitely pull your tea bags out too once you when you go to sweeten it. Anyway, then put it in the fridge overnight, and the next day you will have sun tea that you can work on. It depends. What kind of tea do you love? And if you don't like tea, then maybe this isn't your jam. But for me, peppermint because it's so cooling. And my God, my house is hot right now. It's hard to tell you how hot my house is. It's awful. And so cool. Refreshing mint tea out of the fridge, this is where it's at. But you also get the added benefit of that the magic, right, of the sun's rays filling up this, water for you. It's a daily double of getting, the benefit of the sun as well as the benefit of your tea, so and just the hydration factor too, because I don't know about you guys, but this time of year, I just kind of feel dehydrated all the time a little bit. And with my giant cauldron, I'm probably drinking too much coffee, so water, water, water. Okay. Christy did something a little different this week. It's not an energy oracle card, it's an energy exercise, which is, and it's awesome. So be sure you take a look at that. Melissa, this is what epic looks like. Love it. Heart Happenings with Ginger. She gave us some scopes for the month that are really great. So thank you, Ginger, for that. She's got so much going on and so kindly just keeps writing. And I know life will slow down for her shortly too, but it's dedication to write for a month or a weekly is dedication. It really is. Over at True Crime Squad, of course, there's more crime going on. Anita brings us Apollo this week. He is the Greek god of the sun. He's also known for healing and medicine. I love this article about Apollo. Be sure you check that out. And that's all that's new. So hopefully you'll find some things in Luminous that bring you something that you needed. That's always the hope, right? So take a look, read the articles, see what you find. I'm always curious to know what meditations you guys are doing that's helpful for you. So if you want to share that, I'd love to talk about it. Again, 15 minutes, guys. Everyone has 15 minutes. I know you're busy. I'm busy too, but everybody has 15 minutes. And 15 minutes will give you a lot of benefit. I think to me, meditation personally, a 15, 20-minute stint is great for me. Much more than that. And I'm starting to waste my own time with my thoughts starting to wander and just not really being invested, or my body starts to hurt and I can't really sit in that position anymore, or whatever. But that's kind of where it's at for me. Now, for you guys, maybe it's a little bit different, but that's how I feel about it. If you have a couple of times a day, great, but just 15 minutes. If you have days that you miss, that's fine. Nothing's ruined, nothing is lost, nothing's even hurt, right? Just come back the next day and try again. Everyone's just doing the best they can. I know that. But we can always grow. Friend sent me a message, a story today that I thought was so neat that I wanted to share it with you guys because of the energy this week. We seem to be in this space right now where we are working on ourselves, or we can be. That seems to be the energy of this week. So I wanted to share this story. This came from Good Thinking on Facebook. I was waiting in line for a ride at the airport. When a cab pulled up, the first thing I noticed was the taxi was polished to a bright shine. Smartly dressed in a white shirt, black tie, and freshly pressed slacks, the cab driver jumped out and rounded the car to open the back passenger door for me. He handed me a laminated card that said, "I'm Wasu, your driver. While I'm loading your bags in the trunk, I'd like you to read my mission statement." You ever been in a cab that had a mission statement? Taken aback, I read the card. It said, "Wasu's mission statement: to get my customers to their destination in the quickest, safest, and cheapest way possible in a friendly environment." This blew me away, especially when I noticed the inside of the cab matched the outside, spotlessly clean. As he slid behind the wheel, Wasu said, "Would you like a cup of coffee? I have a thermos of regular and one of decaf." I said jokingly, "No, I'd prefer a soft drink." Wasu smiled and said, "No problem. I have a cooler up front with regular and Diet Coke, lassi, water, and orange juice." Almost stuttering, I said, I'll take a lassi since I've never had one before." Handing me my drink, Wasu said, "If you'd like something to read, I have Good Housekeeping magazine. Reader's Digest, the Bible, and a Travel Plus leisure magazine. As we were pulling away, Wasu handed me another laminated card. These are the stations I get and the music they play if you'd like to listen to the radio. As if that weren't enough, Wasu told me he had the heater on and asked if the temperature was comfortable for me. Then he advised me of the best route to my destination for that time of day. He also let me know he'd be happy to chat and tell me some of the sights, or if I preferred, to leave me with my own thoughts. Tell me, Wasu. I was amazed and asked him, have you always served customers like this? Wasu smiled into the rearview mirror. No, not always. In fact, it's only been the last 2 years. My first 5 years of driving, I spent most of my time complaining, like all of the rest of cabbies do. Then I heard about the power of choice one day. The power of choice is that you can be a duck or an eagle. If you get up in the morning expecting to have a bad day, you'll rarely disappoint yourself. Stop complaining. Don't be a duck, be an eagle. Ducks quack and complain, eagles soar above the crowd. That hit me right, said Wasu. He continued and said, it's about me. I was always quacking and complaining, so I decided to change my attitude and become an eagle. I always looked around at the other cabs and their drivers. The cabs were dirty, the drivers were unfriendly, and the customers were unhappy. So I decided to make some changes. I put in a few at a time. When my customers responded well, I did more. I take it that has paid off for you, I said. It sure has, Wasu replied. My first year as an eagle, I doubled my income from the previous year. This year, I'll probably quadruple it. My customers call me for appointments on my cell phone or leave a message. Wasu made a different choice. He decided to stop quacking like ducks and start soaring like eagles. I hope we all decide to soar like an eagle and not quack like a duck. And I'll share a link to that in the chat room. But I absolutely loved that this morning. I thought, what a great reminder to all of us to really take stock. Like, what are you doing? Are you happy with it? Are you growing from it? Is life what you want it to be? Are you in a place in your life or in your career or in your neighborhood or whatever you're doing that you feel great about it? Or has it become status quo? Or have you kind of fallen off and gotten a little bit lazy or a little bit more like a duck? I can definitely identify places in my life that I have. Look, I'm not telling you you have to change. I'm not telling you you have to grow. If you're happy with where you are, excellent. If you're uncomfortable, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to take stock and decide, what can I do? What effort can I put in to change some things so that I am soaring rather than quacking? Just a thought. I think it's an important one for all of us sometimes, especially as we've gone through what we have the last few years with the pandemic and then kind of coming out of it, but also still being in kind of a weird, sloppy place, that we finally hit a spot where we hit the ground running again, right? We get into a place where we start finding some joy and some excitement rather than just surviving. We've all been in survival mode for too long. And I don't know about you guys, but I want to thrive, not just survive. I have a real, I take a lot of umbrage with wasting my own time. And I do it. Don't worry. I do plenty of it. But I don't want to waste my time just surviving when a few changes could make a big difference. So that was my thought process. So I do want to lead you guys in some meditation. Not even one I had included in my blog, actually, but something else. Years ago, when we still had Healing Hands, we had had some drumming teachers come in from different thoughts, or, different, not thoughts, but drumming is something that's been on this planet from time immemorial through practically every culture, had some, and has had, or still has, some process of drumming. So we had had some Native American drumming workshops. We had had some African drumming workshops. We had had some Reiki drumming workshops, and we were all sold. Everybody was buying drums, making drums. We loved it. I still love it. Drumming's amazing. But one of the things that we learned to do was drumming for a purpose. It's a meditation of sorts. It's kind of like meditation that you focus on a person, a situation, a group of people, a thought, and you hold that while you drum. Now I know I'm the guy with the drum today, so I'll do the drumming, but my invitation to you is to find something to focus that drumming on, either to empower it, to break up the energy of it. Perhaps where you live is feeling very angry and ugly and dense, and you want the energy broken up. Then that would be the energy that you hold while we drum. Perhaps you have a family member or a friend that's ill or struggling, and you want to send drumming to them to help clear out their pain, their anger, their frustration, and then help to lift them up. Perhaps you're thinking about a certain part of the world or the planet itself or whatever. You decide. So I'll do the drumming, but you do the intending, right? So get that thought together now. What do you want me to help you with through the drum? What do you want the drum to do for you, right? That's really where it is. It's not really me at all. What do you want the drum to do for you? What are you empowering today or clearing or charging or whatever it is? So you start holding that thought, take yourself there, envision being with that person or in that place. And you can also envision yourself pounding a drum. That's fine. That's great, actually. I'm just the proxy. So I will pound the drum. You do the envisioning. All right. And here we go. Okay. So that's a different kind of meditation. I think a really powerful one right now is many of us are experiencing and expressing a lot of anger, a lot of intense emotions that finding a way to use them and put them somewhere can be really powerful. So there you have it. Okay. Alrighty. So just jumping into the chat room here really quick. Hey, JR. Thank you, Lillian. Yeah. Well, I am multitasking, Sid. I don't know if I'm doing a good job because so far I have not been able to put an intro or outro music on the radio show portion, and that's bugging the crap out of me. So I'll get that figured out. But and truly, it's just me flying by the seat of my pants and not getting here earlier and figuring it out. So it'll happen next week. I'll have it. But yeah, that's all. Okay. Thank you, Mary. Yeah, that's powerful work. If you guys ever think you want to buy a drum, just ask me if you have any questions. Maybe you don't, but oh, interesting. Tiffany said during drums, feeling a big lump in my throat. Interesting. So I wonder if that's because you're releasing something in your throat, Tiff, or if that's because it's just showing you that's where you have a lot of things stuck. Words. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Lillian would like to buy a crystal bowl, just a small one. And if you here's the thing, only because I used to sell this stuff and because I've researched it a lot and have my own, if you ever want to buy something like that and you want somebody to weigh in on whether they think it's trash or good, you can always send me a link and ask me. I will gladly weigh in because I've bought trash before too. And so I will help you if I can. There used to be, and I'll have to go find it and see if there is any more. There used to be a company that sold bowls on eBay that occasionally would sell off their seconds. And they had like amethyst bowls and like real ones, not a lot of times now you'll see them that are called amethyst bowls or rose quartz bowls or whatnot that are just crystal bowls that are painted pink or purple or whatever inside. There's nothing wrong with that. They're not really amethyst. I mean, I've been to trade shows where they have bowls out of every crystal you can imagine. Emerald singing bowls. Yeah, amethyst, rose quartz, citrine, ruby. I mean, just unbelievable, unbelievable products, that cost many thousands of dollars. But this company, they were selling off their seconds. So maybe there was a chip, or maybe it was rougher than they would like, or the coloring wasn't correct, or whatever. So they were selling their seconds off on eBay for a fraction of what they normally go for. And I had bought a heart chakra bowl in amethyst. It was an unbelievable bowl. The experience of using that bowl was unbelievable. And I sold it. I bought it for a song and I sold it still for a song, but made a good profit on it. And at the time, I did have a store. Our goal was to make a profit, right? To pay ourselves. So it made sense. And I sold it to a dear friend who I know still really values it. But oh, I've had regret over the years on that one, but I'll have to go look and see if those guys are still there. I mean, this has been lots of years ago, but I bought some really powerful bowls from them that for a price that you actually could afford because this stuff is super super expensive. Anyway, and if you go to buy a Tibetan singing bowl, please send me a link and let me tell you if I think it's worth it because that's where you get into real iffy territory. If they're just the handmade, cheap, ones with the bright colors on the sides and stuff, don't waste your money. They suck. They will not do what you want them to do. But anyway, if you ever want help with that, just let me know. I will gladly help. But we need our message from Kathleen because here we are, down at the end of the show. I will, Liliana. I'll go look for them here the next day or two and see. That's interesting. Yeah, because yeah, their bowls were. Hmm. Because I really would like a bigger throat bowl. Sounds like dear Tiffany needs it, right? I want a bigger throat bowl and a bigger third eye bowl. Really bad. Those are the ones that I don't have. Bigger, nicer ones. I have the little tiny chimers, and there's nothing wrong with those, but like for here on the radio and stuff, I really want bigger, nicer ones. I just haven't invested, but maybe this summer, right? We'll see. Okay, let's do our bibliomancy. This is our message from Kathleen Peterson. Of course, this is her channeled book. We are here for you. A lot of you guys have asked me where to get this book. The answer is I don't know. Amazon. Try it. We are here for you. It's no longer in print. As you probably know, Kathleen passed last fall. If you can find a used copy, that's all you will ever get. So hopefully you can still come across a copy because it's wonderful. But if not, I can always help too. Okay. I think maybe we've had this one before. It's Ain. So here is our message for the week. I come before you today with honor and respect for all that you are and all you have done. I offer you my support in your efforts to connect with the all, especially the oceans, waterways, earth, and trees. It is important for you to make that connection, as the healthier the earth is, the healthier the air you breathe and the water you drink. Give of yourself towards protecting the environment and the animals that live in the wild. Give of yourself to honor what the earth provides, and do not be wasteful, and be grateful that the trees and plants help you to provide the oxygen you breathe. You are blessed by all of the care you take of the earth. The more you respond to the needs around you, the more you will receive in the way of health and beauty from the very environment in which you live. I applaud your efforts and wish to encourage you in this. I am also here to assure you that what you do to protect your environment is appreciated by all who share it with you. When you speak to others about your concerns, do so with a light touch so that others will be open to your ideas and not be defensive. You must all work together for the greater good. Share your gifts with nature. Take time out of your busy schedules to spend time in nature connecting. Nature is bounteous and beautiful, and the more you honor her, the more you will be honored. Connecting with nature on a deeper level can open you up to a deeper connection with spirit. Take time to look at and feel the energy in nature. Open your ears and hear the music of the wind, trees, and birds as they share themselves with each other and you. If you listen with an open heart, you can hear nature's orchestra performing some of the most joyous music. Take the time to appreciate all that nature has to offer. Connect with nature and feel the peace that emanates from each tree, animal, bird, waterway, and blade of grass doing what they committed to do. Nature speaks to you and will share her secrets with you if you open your heart and your ears. Do this today. I send you blessings and music from the earth. Go through your day with a song in your heart and appreciation for the air that keeps you alive. And that is, of course, from Kathleen and from Ain. So that's our message this week. I love that. There's always more we can do for the environment. And I don't know about you guys, but it's for me, it's always taking a look at what are we doing right now that's wasteful, that's ridiculous. One thing I noticed is that Mars and I have been drinking a lot of iced coffee, and I've been buying the Starbucks big iced coffee jugs, in the store, and I realized This is really wasteful because, first of all, I don't know if the coffee that goes in those is hot or cold, but it could be really not that healthy. But second of all, we keep throwing these big jugs in the recycling. Okay, they're going in the recycling. That's good, but you know what could be better? Just making it and putting it in a gallon sized glass jar and putting it in the fridge, right? There's no reason to keep buying this $6 a bottle giant coffee and putting these containers in the recycling all the time. Not when you could just make it yourself and put it in a glass jar and not have any garbage from it, except for some coffee grounds that the plants love. So why? Well, because it's easy and convenient. We do a lot of things because they're easy and convenient, but actually making a couple of carafes of coffee every few days and throwing in there is also pretty easy, right? It's the little things. It's the just looking for things you can do, thinking about what you are currently doing that you could do a little bit better as far as the earth is concerned, you know? It is giving yourself an opportunity to reevaluate the way you are living in general. One thing I learned recently is that I was washing my hair way too much. I have a med that has cost me quite a bit of hair. I've lost a lot of hair in the last couple of years, enough that I was getting nervous. And talking to a friend, who knows hair better than me, I was talking about how dry my hair is and how much it wants to break off and how it's no matter what I use on it, I'm just losing hair like nobody's business. And she said, "Well, you're washing your hair way too much." Yeah, every day, every other day. No. She said, "Pull it up. Use a shower cap. Wash your body. Leave your hair alone. Use dry shampoo. Wash your hair every 5 days." She said every 7 days if you can stand it. I can't. 5 days is my limit. But guess what? My hair has improved a ton. But also, that's less pollutants I'm putting into the environment. That's less shampoo and conditioner I'm going through. That's less that I'm exposing my own body to. Sometimes it's just little tweaks that add up, right? So, just a challenge for all of us to think about some of the things that we are or are not doing that could be a little better for the world around us. That's what I've got. We have definitely talked down to the end of the show. I want to let you know that I'm a professional psychic advisor over at one2listen.com. You can find me over there every single day. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. This has been yet another edition of the Katie Weaver Show here on 12 Radio, where we're changing the way you listen to the world.